right, good morning, guys. Thank you for joining us again today. We are here for our next Cummings cast, number 9. I screw this up all the time. So, number 9, here we go. Kim Pellegrino from our Westminster office. She made a huge effort to drive all the way down from Westminster, across the Beltway, all the way over to here. I basically feel like she gave up an hour and a half of her time to get here and get back. She says that I drive too slow and it only takes an hour. So thank you for that, Kim. Appreciate you joining us
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Thank you so much. She also wants to get me a real clapper at some point.
Yes, we're going to get him one.
Thank you.
For sure.
I love that you pay attention and watch these. All right, so Kim, how long have you been in the business?
So I started in January of 2018.
2018, okay, a little bit before COVID. And you started with Northrop or somewhere before that?
With Northrop.
Yeah, Northrop.
Right,
did you have a friend there, or how did you end up with?
I ended up calling the person who sold our house.
Okay.
And then ended up joining her team.
Okay, started on team, and then when you went solo at Northrop, or always stayed?
For 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
And then I left.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, but Northrop is a strong brokerage, strong brand, good training. I know some of the managers over there,
training.
like,
Really.
definitely is, nothing bad to say about how they operate.
No.
Lots of great people there. So had a good experience there, but then I guess you just kind of got to the point where obviously it's a split model and it's exploring your options. Found me, which was working out well, that I was working on the Westminster office at the same time,
I was super excited to have something so close.
Yeah, so in Westminster. And then last year, I know you told me the other day we were talking that you had your best year yet, which I love hearing, because when you're having your best year yet and you're getting 100% of your commission, it sort of like amplifies it up a little bit better. It helps take the financial strain off of everybody. So 18, now 7 years in. I mean, approximately, what was, how did you do last year volume wise? Where did you end up?
Last year I did $8.25 million.
That's awesome. Okay, so just under 10.
And I had done 2 years prior almost 10.
Okay.
But coming to
when
the
you're saying your
100%
best
split, come on.
Best year yet financially.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I had 18
okay.
transactions last year.
18. Okay.
And I haven't hit the 10 million, but I'm gonna hit it. Yeah. I'm gonna hit it for sure.
Gotcha. All right. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, I guess, as well. I know you have a little bit of a story that I think is important. It sort of, as you say, sort of defines like how you operate, your motivation and everything. So I guess just tell us a little bit about that and like how you built your business and everything.
Yeah. So it's funny because when I get a lot of my business from open houses and referrals now.
Okay. Yes.
And when I'm at an open house, I always share with people briefly that I have 4 boys, and I always say 4 boys by choice. And they look at me like, and it's because they're all adopted, and we chose them. And quite frankly, our house is loud and everything breaks, but there's no drama.
Yeah.
There's no drama in the house. So we have 4 boys adopted from China.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
And they came to the Preakness party last year, so I've met them.
Yeah, they did, yeah. And, I just love, not that I share the entire story past that with people, but I guess this is a great opportunity to talk a little bit about how our boys came. We have a very strong faith. And we had met later in life and decided we weren't even going to look into
having children.
We just weren't. Everything was fine on the surface. And so many kids out there needed families that we decided to go the adoption route. Mm-hmm. And when we were adopting our first boy, we were like, oh my gosh, like, where are we going to get this money from? Like, this is a lot of money. And we were both teachers at the time.
Gotcha. Teachers, a lot of ex-teachers. Did you go to Towson University too, by chance?
No, I didn't. Okay. Long Island. Mm-hmm. So we, our first son, we were trying to figure out how we were going to afford this. So I'm going to say this, by the grace of God, we took our mortgage, we took the kitchen that we redid, and we took the cost to adopt our son, and we refinanced, and it came to the exact to the dollar payment monthly.
Wow.
So we knew for sure that this was meant to be.
Big.
Like his
That's
fingerprints
really
were on it. And then exactly to the day, a year later, I returned to China. Our first Anthony was 3 when we adopted him. And then we went back and we adopted a 2-year-old exactly a year later. And it was the same thing. Like all of a sudden, I wasn't working. How are we going to afford this? I'd taken off time from teaching. And we told the adoption agency we couldn't do it. And they said, just think about it. Give it some time.
Right.
So we truly, I always say, got like childlike and on our knees and our hands folded over the bed and prayed and said, peace for it's okay to take him home and we can afford this, and
Yeah.
or peace that someone else will take him home.
Right.
Woke up the next morning and said, let's go get our kid. And I will tell you, to this day, I have no idea how we afforded it. I don't know where the money came from.
Yeah.
You know, and then, call me crazy, driving with my two young guys in the back sleeping after we went to see a movie. And just, driving and praying and just doing my thing and, asking God what's next. And I heard him, like we are sitting here today, out loud. I heard him say, go out and extend yourself. And I was like, oh no. So I got home about an hour later, said to my husband, we have to go back. He goes, what do you mean? We have to go back to China. And I heard, he told me we had to go back.
Wow.
So we didn't go back just for one, we went back for two.
Two. Wow.
And again, we got grants. By now we knew what we were doing. We got grants and we got all sorts of funding for that.
Yeah, yeah.
And we went back and adopted a 9 and 10-year-old.
Wow.
Because they're not adoptable once they get to be a certain age in China.
Okay. Yeah.
And people would say to us, you're going back for another? You have 2 perfectly good kids. I said, no, we're going back for 2.
Yeah.
2 more.
Wow.
If you knew what we knew about China, you would go too.
Gotcha.
So that's our family, and I mentioned the part about adoption because it just defines who we are.
Yeah.
And that's how I do my business.
Yeah.
Is really about the people and not the pocket.
Yes.
He's going to take care of that. He does it all the time.
Yeah.
It's more about the people and finding them.
So now having 4 children, you're kind of like, all right, going back to teaching may not work. I need more flexibility.
Well,
what brought you into real estate then?
I had gone so I was working at a school. I needed more flexibility, so I went from Carroll County to Howard County, and it was a challenging situation. I worked in a alternative school.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working. There wasn't enough support, and I left.
Yeah.
And I left.
Okay.
I was changing who I was.
Yeah.
I was getting threatened, harassed, and bullied on a daily basis by kids.
Yeah, that's terrible.
By students, middle and high school
So
students.
then how did you find real estate?
So I knew it's something I always wanted to do.
Okay.
I have a degree in architecture.
Yeah.
I have a 5-year degree in architecture.
Okay.
And I just, I love houses and homes and the stories in between.
So degree in architecture along with the teaching degree and everything.
Yeah.
So
it helps.
Okay.
It really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then how'd you get going when you first got started? So you said you love open houses. Is that one of the
open
things you
houses I did them every weekend, as many as I can, 2 open houses a weekend. And that's how I built my business, from open houses. And for me, it was reminiscent of, I was in retail many years ago, going through college.
Right, so you're used to
they're
people
coming.
walking
Yeah,
in the
they're
door,
coming to you. So
looking to buy.
you're doing your thing.
Sure.
And I just feel like I just do so much better like that than I do just trying to call somebody or something.
Do you have like a set approach you kind of go through when
I
somebody
do.
walks in the door?
I do.
How's it go? What do you
I am right there at the front door. My phone is away. I am at the front door for them. I put a bell on the front door too.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I happen to be in another room, I can hear them open the door.
Oh, really?
Great safety concern too.
Okay, yeah. You like bring a bell that like.
I bring a dog bell.
Okay.
And I hang it on the doorknob.
I've never even heard that.
So as soon as they open the door, I'm right there and welcome. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Come on in.
You do
take
sign-in sheets and everything.
Not
try
yet.
to get contact
Not
information.
yet. I do.
Okay, go on.
But not yet. So and I just say, hey, my name's Kim, and I wait to see if they're going to give me their names.
Yeah.
And I repeat it 100 times in my head in hopes that I can remember it.
Yeah, I know. Because you're always trying to focus on their
Yeah.
eyesight and everything. The name sometimes can go right.
I will tell you, when they walk in, if they have a kid, I'm on the kid first.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the kid.
Sure.
Thank you for coming in. I can't wait for you to see a certain part of the house or something like that.
Break the ice a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then as they mosey around, if it's like a big grand kitchen, I say, when you get an opportunity, and you see the beautiful kitchen, there's a laptop to sign in there.
Gotcha.
An iPad. And so I do collect their information. And
Yes.
And I have questions on there, and it's very simple. Have you signed with an agent?
Mm-hmm.
And the answers are very vague, like, yeah, sure, kind of, sort of, but don't remember their name.
Right.
So when they're walking around and I see that,
yeah,
because I can see it on my phone now.
Right.
I can see the sign in from Spacio on my phone.
Gotcha.
And I say, oh, they don't even know their agent. agent's name. I'll
Right.
say, so you don't remember your agent's name? Pellegrino, like the water. You won't forget that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I'll do something like that. So I'll take that information and I'll use it when they're walking around the house.
Gotcha. So you
'Cause
let them walk a little bit. You get
Yeah.
them to the kitchen once they're a little bit more comfortable. Ask them to please
Yeah.
sign in. The owner would like to know who's been here, kind of thing. Or
I don't even
so-
say that. I said,
Yeah.
you know, I don't add them to any. I truly do not add them to any mass marketing
Gotcha.
emails and stuff.
Yeah.
I tell them it's for if they have a deadline or an offer is received or a price has been changed on
Right.
the property.
Yeah.
I will notify them.
Yeah, that's
you know, and
great.
of course, if you have any additional questions that I need to get the answers
Right.
to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Always ask them how the market is too.
Yeah.
On that, and when
Uh-huh.
they do insane and they're coming down from upstairs, I say, so I saw you. I noticed you said the market's insane. Tell me a little bit about what you've experienced.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you
So,
kind of know where they are.
Open house is my thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
it's
has a
still-
different thing. Now,
yeah.
I remember when we first joined, though, you also were really focused on doing some sort of like neighborhood spotlight stuff, and are you still following with that as much?
I am still part of it.
Okay. What was that all
It's
about?
called the Faces of Westminster.
Faces of Westminster. I love the
MD.com.
name of that. The Faces
Yeah.
of Westminster. I mean, the Faces of Perry Hall. We're here, like anything like that, right?
Yeah, if
you were
anybody's interested
connecting
in-
with local businesses and things like that,
And
right?
local people, and
Okay.
it does, kids. It could be really anybody, and I try to get together with them to just have a cup of coffee or tea or something.
Right, and then what you would kind of put like it was almost like a blog post, right? I guess
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
video like this. It was just
Nope,
you were connecting with
nope.
people, getting to know their story, and then doing like a blog post about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's on a website, and we had very quickly we had like 35,000 views.
Wow, and this was your idea, Faces of Westminster.
It is not.
Okay.
There's something called the Faces of .com.
Gotcha.
Which I learned through. I'm part of a Go Giver. I don't know if you've ever read the book The Go Giver
No, I have
by
not.
Bob Berg and John
Okay.
David Mann. You have
Okay.
to read it. They have
All
a
right.
leadership one too.
We'll put it in the comments.
Yeah. And I'm part of a group of people that got together just from worldwide, I would say, on Zoom meetings.
Gotcha.
And
Wow.
and somebody happened to share that idea that they do.
Yeah.
And it's a whole thing. There's like Faces of Mount Airy, of
Yeah.
all different places throughout
Gotcha.
the
And
country.
anybody can just kind of create something on their own and just interview people.
Sure,
local
but
businesses and
this
put it
is
in a
great
blog.
because they have the website for you. They give you
Platform,
all the platform, the
Yeah.
support and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Was it pricey?
It's $250 a month. I
Okay.
thought I've spent worse
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
$250 a month for that.
And did it help? Kind of like
Do you know, it
you
helped
posted
to
out
be
on your
really-
own social media as well, right?
I boost other people's business.
Yeah.
And
right.
they love that.
Yeah.
You
sure.
know, and it got me out in the community more.
Yeah.
And it got me to know more people in the community.
Sure.
And I think the best part about it was really the connections that I can make within the community.
Yeah.
Because like somebody reached out to me, she goes, I know you know like everybody. And I don't, but I
Right.
know a lot of people
Sure.
based on that. And,
Yeah. You get
I
more
live there and,
contacts
yeah.
for different
Yeah, and I'm
resources
able to,
that you can
yeah.
be for your clients.
Yep,
Like,
able
oh,
to
I know
give
somebody
them-
that does that.
Yep.
I know somebody can fix
Yep.
that. I know somebody. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right.
So I will say that I've got to get back on it, and I've got to get
Yeah.
more people back on there again.
Right. So open houses. That. What else have you been doing?
And it's referrals.
Yeah.
I mean,
referrals.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm a huge
s-
note card person.
No cards. Okay.
I send them out. I have birthdays. Yes, I use a CRM.
Okay. Which CRM do you use?
So I use iExact.
Exactly. I know
and,
other people have used that. Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of wishy-washy with it, but it gives me right now, I can enter birthdays, kids' birthdays. I send kids' birthday cards, and
Yeah.
the parents think it's the greatest thing in the world. And
Yeah.
I write it out to the kids, tell mom I said hi.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
addressed
cool.
to them.
And how do you figure out all their birthdays and stuff?
I
Just
ask
as you're
them.
going through the process, you
I
start
ask them,
noting
come
it
right
down.
out and say,
Yeah.
when's your kid's birthday?
Yeah.
And sometimes at the settlement, when I have to make a copy of the driver's license, I
Yeah.
just grab the month and the day,
Yeah.
and jot it down. Otherwise, and my
So you
last
surprise
client-
them.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yep.
And so it's arriving the day before the day of, and they're like showing how on it you are.
I have a notification that tells me to write the card. The
Right.
birthday's coming up, and then I have a notification that the day of the birthday.
Yeah.
So an automatic email goes out, but I also will send a text.
Yeah.
Depending on the client.
Okay, so you're doing all this electronically. You're not doing like a handwritten stamp in the mail.
Oh no, that is the card is
The card
handwritten,
is stamp in the
stamp.
mail. Yeah.
Like
okay.
always have a cool stamp, not just
Okay.
American flag.
Okay.
Like,
You really think it
yeah.
out.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh, it's great to
Yeah.
buy
So
stamps today.
birthdays, yeah. I just interviewed Mark Risha not long ago, and he does house anniversary.
I do that.
Do you do
I
that
do
too?
anniversaries,
Okay.
wedding anniversaries.
Wedding anniversary. Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
I've got a
Birthdays.
stack of cards for that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. What else are we doing? You're really like, is
I
that
like
a daily task that you're doing at this point with the amount of clients you have over the last 7 years?
it.
Weekly?
It. At one point, I wrote the cards out ahead of time and put the date on the corner. But now I just do it as they come up, as the
Okay.
reminders come up. I'll do a couple of days
Is
at
that
a time.
something that you try to do first thing in the morning, or all of a sudden you have a showing the first thing in the morning?
It
You're
just
getting it done in the
depends. It
afternoon?
depends. And now I put all my stuff in the Westminster office.
Yeah.
All those cards
Took,
and things.
took
so-
office space.
Yeah, it tries to
Yeah.
try to get me in there a little bit more.
Good.
'Cause I gotta
So
go
all the
write a
cards are
card.
there. Yeah. All right. Good. Yes. We were just here with Mark Rees, and he was saying how important or how benefit it has been for him to come into the office and do things.
I have to
stay
get better
focused,
at it still. I'm not.
Helps him stay focused, connect with
Yeah.
people, talk about deals.
Yeah.
But everybody's running around doing their same thing. I mean, I know that like I can tell you stats like 75% of the office works from home. So I have all these different locations. But just because you may not officially take office space, I try to have areas where you can come in and pop in and work and, not have to worry about paying extra to pop into an office and all that stuff. So
And we do the round table.
yes. Yeah.
over in
Round tables.
Westminster.
Yep.
Yeah, which has
Westminster's
been great, yeah.
it's been very good. So are you been getting active in any like video work, AI, anything like new on the horizon
Gosh,
coming
I
up?
don't like this.
You don't like the video work? Yeah. I know. I'm adjusting
Somebody-
it as well. Do
You're
not
doing
like.
great. Are you kidding me?
Thanks, trying. I'm better one-on-one. Yeah, I mean, what's new on the horizon? Have you been getting into any of the AI? And why we speak of AI, this may by the time this comes out, but I've got a bunch of classes coming up shortly for AI that we're going to go around the different offices.
Nice.
John Wald, who was a previous sort of in-house lender with us that we're still friendly with, is been teaching some AI classes. He's going to come into the different locations, bop around to all the locations we have that are the larger ones that have the conference room space. But have you been getting involved in ChatGPT and any of that fun stuff?
I pay the subscription because I love it,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to not wait if I need something. So it's another write-off. It's not
Sure.
not that much, but I use it on a daily basis,
Yeah.
without a doubt. I have a separate tab open on my computer that's AI and Canva on the same tab.
Okay.
And it's open all the time.
Yeah, and you do a lot on Canva yourself, right? I
Yeah.
know you even helped teach a class, which I appreciate a while back. So
Yeah, sure. I
you
love
taught
Canva.
yourself Canva, and you
Yeah.
do pretty much manage all of your own marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started doing like I'll read a great article like on Inman or something like that, and I'm like, gosh, this would make a great series of posts for Facebook.
Sure.
So I just did a series of like 13 posts about what like the scary parts of staging.
I gotcha.
Like the go away front door mat.
Right.
And like these are things if you're going to sell, you have to think about. You don't
Yeah.
want a buyer to walk up to a house that says go away and a doormat.
Yeah.
So I tried to kind of make it sort of funny.
Yeah.
And it was funny because somebody posted on Facebook about the antlers and the
Yes.
deer head, and that was one of the things I said don't do. Like
Right.
that's cool for you as an owner maybe, but
Yeah.
not so cool for
Potential buyers.
The buyers. So
Yeah.
so I take that
Yeah.
article and I throw it in ChatGPT and I say, break this down into 12 a series of 12 slides.
Gotcha.
And it gives me the information, and I like to just create the actual slides myself, but at least I already have the information
Right.
there
So you have
broken
like
down.
the wording content, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
creating like the graphical side
Yep.
of it. Gotcha.
Yep, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So you have your skill set with Canva that you've sort of taught yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then you now have your skill set with using ChatGPT
I use
for
it
the wording and everything.
Anything I write, if I write an email to somebody,
Yeah.
I'll go back and say, touch this up and have them
Yeah.
spit it back out. Because
Gotcha.
sometimes you type so fast, you're not even
Right.
really paying attention.
Right.
But I use it for everything.
And then once you spit it into there, you reread it to make sure
Absolutely.
that you like the way it
Absolutely.
all sounds, and it sounds like you
Absolutely.
still. Yeah, that's what
Because I can even see, like when people do it for listings, they miss some things, they leave some things in the listing description that you clearly was
No.
written by AI.
Yeah. Gotcha. Like what else is going on business wise right now? I mean, obviously it's very, tight inventory market, high interest rates, like for this year, how things going for you? How do you see it going? What sort of trials and tribulations are you going through, or what successes?
Yeah, it's definitely slower than I'd like it to be.
Yeah.
This year, but that just sort of always says to myself, well, then I say to myself, then I have to be doing something else that I have time to do now that I wouldn't have time to do
If you were
if I was super busy.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to sort of get myself better with checklists and just to make things run smoother when I have
busy.
that busy time.
Yeah.
So I always say to myself that we ride the roller coaster, and I look at it as a yearly thing. I mean, we're a roller coaster quarterly and monthly. We're always a roller coaster, but I look at it as a yearly thing. And if this is a season that is not as strong as I'd like it to be, then I have to be getting ready for when it is going to be stronger.
Strong. Yeah.
And I want to get my checklist better, just systems better.
Yeah. Right. So you're in the mindset of every day is a work day, just because you may not have listing appointment buyers or whatever. You're like, I'm gonna tighten up something else, iron out something else, clean up that fire, so that when I am busy, I've got everything in place. I've got these emails prepped. I feel like your wheels are always spinning.
They're always spinning, but I also, like, if I know, like last weekend I did 2 open houses, and I know that there's going to be that much time taken out of the weekend.
Yeah.
Which
try to incorporate that.
I try to take some of that time back.
Yeah.
For myself.
Right.
And I'll go and I have a couple of little projects that I'm working on at home, and I'll do those, because I also think, even though we're a roller coaster and I might be here, I'm not here, but I might be here.
Yeah.
I still want to make sure that I'm taking time, to do me.
Yes.
We went to see Star Wars last night.
Yeah. I mean, if you take 6 hours on a Sunday, it's like, then, maybe you don't take all 6 hours on Monday, but you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna get my nails done, whatever. Like, I'm gonna clean up the house. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's
balance
important.
it out, right? Because I always do worry about the burnout factor, because it's like you're working 6 hours on Sunday and then you just go back to working, Monday through Friday, 8 to 6 or whatever, and pretty much in it the whole time, and then back to the next weekend, you will burn yourself out. So that downtime and balance is
I try to do that, important. Especially with this weather. Get outside a little bit and enjoy it, but not do it too much, because I don't want to lose my business. Like, remember that I still am managing my time, which is part of why I wanted to do this, is to be home for the kids and manage all that time.
Exactly. Any else that you want to share with us?
So
Any
here's
fun
something
facts?
funny. Fun fact.
Fun fact. What do you got?
When I was younger, I drove a Good Humor ice cream truck.
Oh, really? Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah.
You were like the star of the neighborhood, I bet.
And it was through a friend, so I didn't have a route. I didn't have inventory, and I would just go driving. I didn't have a car, so I would just drive this truck anywhere I wanted to go. One of those old Good Humor trucks.
Hold on, that was like your mode of transportation, or not your job? There was no inventory.
It was. Well, okay. No, they didn't take inventory.
Oh, okay.
So they were just like, go sell some ice cream, bring us some money back, because I knew the people, and I was like,
that is hilarious.
So I would go to like parks and like, because in New York you had to stick with the your route, because you didn't want to step in anybody else's route. So I didn't have a route. So if there was a little police activity going on, I may be going there and sell some ice cream.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Good
and my
for
friend
you.
used
That
to
is
sit
a good
on the
hustle.
motor. She would sit on the motor.
Yeah.
Because there was no seat. There was no seat belts. There was no seat. She would sit on top of the motor and ring the bell for me.
Oh my gosh.
Hilarious.
Did you make good money?
Trucks. Oh, it was great. It was great. It didn't matter, did it?
Right.
Vehicle to drive.
That is hilarious. Good for you. I mean, are they still around? I see them at the beach. They come up to like each street in Ocean City, I feel like, and ring the bell. But like
the
locally,
old ones.
I don't see them that often. I guess there's some still around. But...
I will tell you, they are built like a tank.
Yeah.
They are a tank.
Yeah, that was a great childhood memory of like getting the ice cream truck. If your parents didn't buy your ice cream, they were just like everybody else was. So it was like that snowball effect. So that's very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions for Kim, let her know. I appreciate your time, especially coming all the way from Westminster over here. So you're the best.
We drive, right? As realtors, we drive.
Yes, we do.
We listen to books.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. All right, guys. Have a good one.